everybody, and welcome to a brand new mini edition of T Watches a Scary Movie. My name is T, and we're talking scary movies. And happy 1 year anniversary. For those of y'all who have been here for the year, you might remember this time last year, I decided to start chronicling my horror movie marathon that I did every fall, starting from September 1st up until Halloween night. And I decided last year I was finally going to do something. I was going to make a podcast, video cast, whatever of it. And we did that up until Halloween. And that ended up turning into an actual show. I decided I wanted to keep going with it and talk more horror movies, horror TV shows, horror games, horror news, all that kind of stuff. And we've been had a really strong year. We've had some great interviews. We've had some great movies to talk about. I've had some great guest hosts. And it's been a year. That's hard to believe. It's been a year. And not too much has changed. We can get out a little bit more. But beyond that, not too much has changed there. Horror, though, has just gotten amazing. 2020 and 2021 has been so good to the horror genre, honestly. And 2022 is looking pretty damn strong as well, too. Horror's been a big winner with everything that's been going on in the last couple of years here in our world now. But we're not going to wait down that way. Folks, I told you last week that moving forward for the months of September and October all the way through the end of Halloween, I wasn't really going to be doing traditional shows. I was going to step back from that. Besides if I get like interviews. If I can get an interview with somebody, we're going to do that. And maybe some of the newer movies that are coming out in the next couple of months as well too. Because I really want to talk obviously Halloween Kills and everything as well. So some of those we might do. But for the large most part, it's just going to be these mini episodes where we're going to talk about the movies we've watched and the movies we have coming up to keep everybody up to date. This is going to be fun. It'll be little snippets, so you don't have to make these big chunks of change, commitments of time, because we're not doing the 30-minute episodes until we really get to November, honestly. But these episodes will be about 10 to 15 minutes or shorter, honestly. And there will be more of them as well, too, because y'all know that we're trying to do these marathons as much as humanly possible. So I'm watching movies all the time. I told you I'd stream them whenever I can. Most weekdays we'll do 4 movies starting at 5 p.m., ending us around midnight, maybe like 12:30 or something like that. But if I'm watching them during the early morning, I'll do my best to stream them for you. Same thing with late night. I can't promise because like last night I watched a few, but we'll do as many as we can. So coming up, we have watched 4 so far. I kicked it off last night, midnight, September 1st, with the 1931 original Universal classic, Frankenstein. I did Frankenstein, which, man, so good. Such a good movie. I know everybody prefers Bride of Frankenstein, but it's still a really good one. The scene with the monster and Little Maria is still like so chilling. It's so chilling. And the monster himself, man, that thing is terrifying. It honestly is terrifying. That's a really, really good monster movie, honestly. And I know it's not high on a lot of people's list, but it really should be because it's a lot of fun. It's a hell of a lot of fun. So we did Frankenstein. Second, I did An American Werewolf in London. So I had recently talked about this one because we all know I enjoy American Werewolf in Paris way more. I think that's a far superior film, and I'm just not a fan of London, honestly. It doesn't do it for me. But I decided that I needed to give this one more try, and this will be the last time. If I'm not liking it, I'm not coming back to this movie for a few years, honestly. I'm going to let it sit and let it die for a while. And watched it. My mind has not changed on that film. The humor did not get better. It got worse even, and it just seems so awkward. And it sucks because, the design of the werewolf is amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And, like, the transformation scene, so good too. There's so much you want like that should make this movie good. It's just not enough. It's really not. And I like John Landis. John Landis has done a lot of other films that I've really enjoyed, but this is just not one that I feel worked out well at all, honestly. I'm always a fan of a bleak ending, of a downer of an ending in a horror film, so I didn't mind that with this one at all, but it didn't do it for me. Not a fan, and it's dead for a while, y'all. I'm not coming back to this movie for a while. Yeah. Number God, wait. So two wait. Wait, I just lost it. 2 was An American Werewolf in London. So that means 3 was Freaky. 3 was Freaky. Yeah. So, if you recall, there was a set of horror movies called Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You, and this story was basically like a horror version of Groundhog's Day, to where a girl, young, a young collegiate, what do you call him? I don't know, a young college student named Tree gets stuck in a time loop where she keeps reliving the same day over and over and is getting murdered by a killer in a babyface mask. Great concept. The first movie was a really good, fun horror comedy. The second film didn't do much in the way of horror. It really shifted more into sci-fi comedy. Still really good, though. But the second film didn't make enough to where right now they're jumping to greenlight the third film. Its status is really up in the air. But most of the same team that did Happy Death Day and Happy Death Day to You came back to do a horror retelling of Freaky Friday called Freaky. This telling the story of a young high school athlete, young high school mascot who is hunted by a serial killer in her town who uses some kind of cursed dagger to swap their bodies, where our lead character goes into the body of the serial killer and the serial killer goes into the body of our lead character. And you've seen the previews, even if you haven't seen the movie, Vince Vaughn acting like he's a high school girl. And it basically keeps the same kind of atmosphere, the same kind of mood that Happy Death Day does, and Happy Death Day to You as well. It's a fun horror comedy. This does lean more into the comedy realm, though. There is a lot of fun death scenes in it, and it's very bloody. It's very gory for sure, but it definitely comes off more on the funny side than it does on the horror side, though. Either way, really, really good movie. I enjoyed this one. And number 4 that we just finished up with Sleepaway Camp. So Sleepaway Camp 1. We watched 2 and 3 earlier in the summer of horror, a couple of months ago actually more like 2.5 months ago now that I think about it. But we watched 2 and 3 a few months back there, and I really enjoy, especially the second one. I think Pamela Springsteen is a fantastic horror icon. She does so good with the character of Angela. Just love her so much. But I've always said I wasn't a big fan of the original Sleepaway Camp. Angela's the killer. We're past our 10-year rule. And again, same character that's in the other films. So Angela doesn't have the personality that Pamela Springsteen does. And I love Felissa Rose. She's fantastic. She's fantastic. But it just doesn't do it for me. And the film really does not hold up well, in my opinion. Yes, the shocker of the ending is still the shocker of the ending. But yeah, not a fan of that one. And those are our first 4. So you are listening to this, and we just probably finished up the original Friday the 13th, and we have Friday the 13th Part 2 coming up right now. We're either halfway through that, and we have Part 3 and Part 4, the final chapter, following that up. We need to get the heavyweights out of the way, all right? I said we weren't going to do a lot of repeats, and of course, I have to include, our Freddy, our Jason, our Michael, our Chucky, all that good stuff there. We're actually going to hit the Hellraiser series this year, which we have not done, and that's going to be a tough one because those are some gory films. We're going to hit that. We'll probably actually hit the Leprechaun series in full, too. So we're going to get through a lot here, but we got to get through some of these. So we start off with my favorites. At least we start you guys off with my favorites, the first 4, the first third of the Friday the 13th series. So excited to watch those with y'all. And if you haven't seen them, keep in mind, when we watch the remake later on, we'll probably be watching that sometime next week by the time you're listening to this. The remake really does take the first 3 movies, there's 3 or 4 movies, I guess, and kind of combines all those into one. So kind of pay attention and see which you're going to prefer, whether you actually enjoy watching the older original films or enjoy the remake that just kind of combines it all together and gives you a simple story with all the fluff taken out now. Out of these first 4 films, I'm a big fan of part 3. Really because I just love old corny 3D movies, honestly, and this is a really corny one. I wish we could all watch the 3D version together, but it doesn't really work because you guys all have to have the 3D glasses, and I'd have to be able to actually stream it in 3D, and just ultimately it's not going to work out that way, so that kind of sucks, but either way, it's still a lot of fun. And the final chapter is fantastic as well, too. That's actually a really gory film. And it has Corey Feldman and Crispin Glover in it. Yes, Back to the Future's Crispin Glover and The Goonies' Corey Feldman, who has a really big pedigree in horror, actually. Lost Boys, Friday the 13th, Tales from the Crypt, Gremlins. There's more on there. But yeah, that's what we got coming up. We have the first 4 Friday the 13th films. Y'all, I appreciate you tuning in. Make sure you're subscribing to our pages so you can keep up with everything that's going on, including all the links. You know that you got to subscribe to the YouTube page because the YouTube page is where you can see the video shows when I do get to doing those. And I will actually get back to those very soon. So youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. Again, that's youtube.com/C/Theron Reynolds Scary Movie. The Podbean link is going to be in the comments or in the info section as well. And then if you go to the Facebook page, that's where you can get the Facebook group to where you can get our links for our watch parties, see my written reviews, keep up with the movies that I'm not streaming or talking about on the show as well. That is facebook.com/group/T Scary Movie. Again, facebook.com/group/T Scary Movie. Well, that's going to do it for me, folks. Get on over to Facebook so you can get on to the watch party with us and enjoy some Friday the 13th. And welcome to the spooky season. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.